8 hours, no galley, G's stacking. Oxygen mask on, targets moving, tanker somewhere ahead. So, how do F-16 pilots actually eat up there, without losing focus, airflow, or the mission? Think of it as a loop: launch, climb, tank, long transit, on-station work, maybe re-attack, tank again, then home. Most of that time, you're strapped in a tight cockpit, helmet on, oxygen mask sealed. The jet is pressurized, but not like an airliner. Cabin altitude can feel high, the air is bone dry, and the temperature swings. Workload lurches from quiet cruise to all channels red when a tanker rejoin, pop-up tasking, or high-G maneuver kicks off. That rhythm dictates when you can eat. Calories matter because sustained attention and G tolerance both burn energy. Dehydration is the silent killer. It dings vision, reaction time, and judgment before you notice. But there's no tray table, no galley, and no built-in feed port in a standard F-16 mask. Everything you consume must be stashed on your body, opened with one hand, and managed without crumbs or sticky fingers near switches. The trick isn't what to eat, it's when you can safely touch anything at all. Start at the face. The F-16 community commonly uses a pressure-breathing mask that locks to the helmet with bayonet clips and feeds through an oxygen block on the torso. It seals hard around your jaw and nose to protect you during high-G pulls. That seal is great for survival and terrible for snacking. There's no standard feed port. Anything you eat must happen during a brief, deliberate mask crack, timed for low workload and safe cabin altitude. Now, the stowage problem. You're sitting on a parachute and wearing a survival vest. Pockets are real estate: flight suit thighs, shoulder, and a few vest pouches. You want items that are compact, heat-tolerant, and won't explode crumbs into the jetsam of a modern cockpit. FOD, foreign object debris, can jam a throttle track or hide under a switch. Sticky sugar on gloved fingers can smear a visor or make a knob slick. So, pilots pre-stage: open tier notches on the ground, tape tabs for easy pulls, and group items by phase of flight: quick calories near the vest for cruise, denser stuff deeper for egress. The short list is brutally practical. Energy gels ride up front because they're one-hand, tear and squeeze, and hard to drop. First strike bars or other dense, soft bars are pre-scored so you can bite cleanly without showering crumbs across switches. Jerky gives salt and protein without stickiness. Nut mixes get portioned into mini bags on the ground. Otherwise, they'll jailbreak. Applesauce or fruit puree pouches are a sleeper hit. Fast carbs, no crumbs, works when your mouth is dry. Many pilots add electrolyte tabs or powder to a bladder, so every sip counts. Heat and cold beat up food, so choices skew toward items that won't melt, freeze solid, or turn greasy. Taste dulls at altitude. Big flavors help you notice you've actually eaten. Caffeine is used sparingly. Think one small gel or gum early, and nothing near tanker time or recovery. The rule is clean, quick, contained. Anything that requires two hands, careful alignment, or creates micro trash is out. And every wrapper? It goes back in your pocket. FOD is not invited. Hydration is the fight you don't see. Most pilots route a bladder hose from a vest pocket or seat area, so the bite valve sits near the chin. The move is a quick, rehearsed sequence. Scan clear, trim stable, confirm safe cabin altitude and low workload, then a deliberate mask crack. Lift the bottom edge just enough to slip the valve in, sip, reseal, recheck. The whole thing takes seconds, but it's never casual. Why not a bottle? Under G or turbulence, a bottle becomes a projectile. And you don't want hard plastic bouncing near a HUD or throttle. Bladders collapse as you drink, so no slosh, less fiddling, and you can pre-mix electrolytes. Pilots micro-sip instead of chugging to avoid bathroom pressure and blood volume swings right before a tanker join or a merge. If you've ever watched a formation rejoin, imagine trying to drink during that. Too much task load, too little margin. Hydration happens in the quiet, because quiet is rare. Tech check. Fighter cockpits are pressurized, but not to sea level. At cruise, an F-16's cabin altitude can sit well above 8 to 10,000 feet, which shrinks your oxygen margin and dries you out. The mask, typically a pressure-breathing design, adds positive pressure during high G to keep blood oxygenated when your chest can't. That's why pilots avoid eating or drinking when workload or altitude spikes. A brief mask crack is only safe when four things align: low cabin altitude, stable flight path, low tactical threat, and a verified good seal afterward. Miss anyone, and you trade calories for hypoxia risk or distraction in the most unforgiving phase. That margin keeps you alive under pressure. Here's the unglamorous truth: long fighter sorties are scheduled around fuel, threat, and the bladder. Peeing is solved three ways. Old school is the piddle pack, a zip seal bag with absorbent crystals that turns liquid to gel. It works, but in turbulence or under G, it's a morale test. Next are external kits like AMXD or Skydrate, which add a discrete pump and reservoir so pilots can go hands-free. They're gender-inclusive, increasingly standard on very long missions, and a game-changer for hydration discipline. Food timing follows that plumbing. If you slam fluids early, you'll be fighting urgency right as you brief the tanker rejoin or push into tasking. Instead, pilots meter small sips and small bites on the way out, then eat a little more after the first tanker. And again on egress when workload falls. Salty snacks help retain fluid. Caffeine is pushed earlier to avoid a diuretic hit near recovery. All of this happens with wrappers captured, valves stowed, and checklists unbroken. The goal isn't comfort, it's keeping cognition high without creating a cockpit problem you now have to fix. Under stress, simplicity. Flight docs preach predictability. Steady carbohydrates, regular electrolytes, minimal caffeine, no unregulated supplements, and absolutely no tactical dehydration. The aim is stable blood sugar, normal blood volume, and clean decision-making. They'll also caution against crumbly foods, sticky drinks, and anything that risks choking when a sudden maneuver hits. Reality in the Viper splits the difference. Pilots front-load prep on the ground, tear notches, pre-portion nuts, pre-mix electrolytes, and stage items by reach. In flight, they use micro-sips and micro-snacks during truly quiet windows, then leave the mask alone for everything else. Tanker join, radar work, night IMC, or a tactical turn. Hands on throttle and stick, not on food. The philosophy is boring by design. Small, salt-forward calories that don't smear, systems that don't leak, wrappers that never float, and a cockpit that stays flyable. There are hard no-go windows for eating or drinking. Takeoff and departure. Formation rejoins, especially to a tanker. Low-altitude terrain work. High-G setups. Night or weather approaches. Anytime the cabin altitude climbs or the threat picture changes. Why so strict? Positive pressure breathing helps you tolerate G, but it also means the mask seal is part of your protection. Crack it at the wrong moment, and you shed margin you might desperately need 2 seconds later. Food also steals attention. A wrapper that escapes or a drip on a switch turns into a cockpit problem. The rule of thumb: if the radio matters, the radar matters, or gravity matters. Snacks wait until it's quiet. On a ferry leg, the mission is mostly navigation and fuel. After the first climb and checks, workload often settles. That's when pilots take micro sips every few minutes, nibble a soft bar, maybe finish a pouch. They'll avoid anything messy before descent or arrival. In combat, timing flips. You might hold off through the push, then take a quick gel after the first tanker, when the formation stabilizes and radios calm. On station, bites happen between tasking cycles. The bigger snack waits for egress when threat drops and hands can leave controls. Tech check. Why do gels and pouches beat sandwiches? Fine motor control degrades under G and with gloves. Dry cabin air dulls taste and makes chewing harder. Positive pressure masks punish crumbs. A stray flake under a switch is F-odd, you'll chase mid-task. Squeezables limit hand-off throttle time and require minimal jaw movement, so resealing the mask is faster. Soft bars work when pre-scored, but gels and fruit purees win for one-hand accuracy, zero crumbs, and predictable calories. In other words, packaging isn't convenience. It's risk management, tailored to a cockpit that never really stops moving. Less time unsealed means more safety. Mask. Diagram, oxygen block close-up, FSR gel bar sheet, hydration bladder, piddle pack and skydrate, FAA hypoxia chart, annotated pockets, labels. So, the secret isn't a magical mask feeder. It's choreography. Tiny, tidy calories and sips, taken only when altitude, workload, and threat line up. The risky moment we teased? Any phase where oxygen margin or task load is thin, because seconds off air or off task can snowball. One open question remains. Will integrated hydration and relief finally become standard across fighters? If you want more deep dives about planes or pilots, drop your topic.